William Faulkner, an American writer. William Faulkner was born in September of 1897 and died in July of 1962 at the age of 64. After being born in Albany, Mississippi, his father quickly moved him and his family to Oxford, Mississippi, where he would spend most of his life. Faulkner had three younger brothers, including John Faulkner, who was also an acclaimed author. He was best known for his works Men Working, Dollar Cotton, and the memoir My Brother Bill, An Affectionate Reminiscence, which was based on his older brother William. From an early age, Faulkner's artistic imagination was encouraged by many people, including his mother Maud and his maternal grandmother Layla. They were both avid readers, painters, and advocates of education, and Maud introduced all of her children to classic literary works like Charles Dickens and Grimm's fairy tales. However, the biggest influence on Faulkner's eventual literary prowess was a man named Philip Stone, who he met when he was 17. Stone was himself a highly educated author and assumed the position of mentor to Faulkner. Stone would often send Faulkner's early works to publishers and even introduced him to famous author James Joyce, who would later become a major influence in his writings. Faulkner attended only 3 semesters at the University of Mississippi before he dropped out, and although he received a D in English, some of his poems were still published in the campus newspaper. Faulkner wrote mainly poetry early in his career, and in fact did not finish his first novel until he was 25. The novel was called Soldier's Pay and was only written after Faulkner was influenced by a man named Sherwood Anderson to start writing fiction. Due to the efforts of his new friend Anderson, his second book, Mosquitoes, was also published. Faulkner is most widely known for his novels and stories set in fictional Yoknapatawpha County, which is loosely based on Lafayette County, Mississippi. The first of these novels published was originally entitled Flags in the Dust. Although Faulkner believed that this novel was an enormous advancement from his previous two, the first draft was rejected by publishers. After allowing his friend and literary agent Ben Wasson to make edits to the novel, it was finally published in 1928 under the title Sartoris. In 1928, Faulkner began writing his fourth novel entitled The Sound and the Fury. Although not well received originally, by 1999 the Modern Library ranked the novel 6th on its list of best English language novels. The Sound and the Fury employed an unusual style of writing in which Faulkner wrote the novel in 4 parts from 4 distinct points of view. Set in Jefferson, Mississippi, the novel is centered around the Compson family, a former wealthy and infamous family that are struggling to reconcile with the loss of their finances, religion, and the respect of their fellow citizens. Although Faulkner's writings would eventually be described as some of the most influential pieces of literature in American history, they were not financially supporting Faulkner yet. While working the night shift at the University of Mississippi Powerhouse, Faulkner wrote his fifth novel and second based in the infamous Yoknapatawpha County. The novel, entitled As I Lay Dying, is once again based around Jefferson, Mississippi. The story follows the Bungeon family as they make a 9-day, 40-mile trek to bury Addie, the matriarch, in her hometown of Jefferson. The plot twists along the way are captivating and once again owe themselves to Faulkner's unique style of writing. The novel is narrated by 15 different characters over 59 chapters. According to Faulkner, he wrote the book from midnight to 4 a.m. over the course of 6 weeks and never changed a word. After years of financial problems, Faulkner was finally offered a steady job as a screenwriter for MGM Studios. He would continue to work there for the next few decades. He worked on several projects that even included an adaptation of an Ernest Hemingway novel. Throughout his career, Faulkner was known to be a serious alcoholic. He claims never to have drank while writing, but tended to binge after a book's completion. Nonetheless, by the end of his life, Faulkner had written many literary masterpieces and received multiple awards, including a Nobel Prize in 1949 and the National Book Award in 1951 and 1955. In 1959, Faulkner was injured while riding a horse and developed a condition called thrombosis. Due to the stress of this condition, he tragically died just a few years later from a heart attack. Faulkner is buried at St. Peter's Cemetery alongside a so-called family friend whose grave is mysteriously marked with just the letters E.T.